On the week of World Environment Day, I rise to speak about the importance of biodiversity. Biodiversity is the wellspring of life on Earth, and even as reasonably intelligent beings, the complexity and scale of our universe may well remain beyond our full comprehension for all time. It is that complexity, the fragility against certain human activity, that I hope to contribute to protecting and nurturing as a custodian and legislator. In discussions about the environment, which are fairly concerned with climate change, we often miss the reasons for limiting the anthropomorphic impact of human creation outside of basic human survival. Like any animal facing habitat destruction, it is critical to recognise that we are dependent on the totality of our environment, not just certain parts of it. The deep, connected, myriad ways that our Earth and universe provides for our existence are potentially unknowable. This is why my sense of philosophy has its roots in Stoicism, and I've discovered more recently pantheism, particularly that of the Spinozan variety. The development of modern pantheism is generally attributed to the work of 17th century philosopher Baruch Spinoza and his posthumously published work, Ethics. I referred in my inaugural speech to my affinity with Stoicism, which is essentially a pantheistic philosophy. In discovering the work of Spinoza, I have found a more specific representation of not only a framework in which to approach individual situations, which Stoicism offers, but a broader sense of belonging to a whole. In the mid-1600s, Spinoza articulates with clarity and simplicity my own instinct about existence and something like a higher power. He suggests Deus sive natura, God is nature and nature is God. In 1929, Albert Einstein presented the idea poetically, saying, "I believe in Spinoza's God, who reveals himself in the lawful harmony of the world, not in a God who concerns himself with the fate and the doings of mankind." This instinct is felt with depth whenever I look up, down, out at the world. To look at the stars and see our own galaxy light up the sky from the state's first dark sky national park in the Warrumbungles, to breathe in deeply the scent of the eucalyptus while hiking in the Blue Mountains, to watch ancient crocodiles in Winjana Gorge in the Kimberleys. There is a spirituality to it. Yet biodiversity and the complexity of our living systems on Earth, ecosystems that have taken millennia to develop, are at serious and fatal risk due to human activity. According to an article published in Science magazine in April, Global Trends and Scenarios for Terrestrial Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services from 1900 to 2050, it states, during the 20th century, the planet lost around 2.3% of species from land use changes impacts alone. That's approximately 200,000 species if one assumes the planet's diversity to be around 9 million species. Australia is called out for pronounced reduction in species richness across eastern and southwestern Australia. In New South Wales, according to the independent review of the Biodiversity Conservation Act 2016, published in August 2023 and led by Dr. Ken Henry AC, the findings state that feral cats and foxes kill around 7 million native animals every day in Australia. 72 species are extinct in New South Wales, including 25 mammals. 953 threatened species and 111 threatened ecological communities are currently listed under the Act. In 2016, the Coalition Government responded to the urgent need to address outdated, disparate approaches to biodiversity conservation by introducing the Biodiversity Conservation Act 2016. It was led by the Environment Minister at the time, the Honourable Mark Speakman. He said, "We are fortunate in New South Wales to have a rich and diverse range of native wildlife, but the laws we have now for regulating human interactions with native animals and plants are more than 40 years old and have not kept pace with the evolution of wildlife management in practice. The Act itself has the purpose of maintaining a healthy, productive and resilient environment for the greatest well-being of the community, now and into the future, consistent with the principles of ecologically sustainable development." There have now been multiple reviews into the Act, with the most recent Ken Henry report listing 58 clear recommendations for government to strengthen the legislation. In particular, it will be critical for the Department of Planning and the Department of Environment to develop and implement a monitoring, evaluation, reporting and improvement framework for the Biodiversity Offset Scheme. And I also point to recommendations 36, 47, 48, 49 and 50, which aim to enhance data gathering and management, to improve data-informed decision-making and assist in the development of a comprehensive set of natural capital accounts for New South Wales. As a Liberal, I believe in preserving Australia's natural beauty and environment for future generations.